cases he hated Christianity, and in some cases he loved Christianity and praised it. It's very confusing. But at the end of the day, he did hate most religions. He could do technical religious war, but it's not really his main motive.
Yeah, I do agree. And I think this is like something we have to start looking at reality. That there are many components why certain things happen, so it's not just one thing. And it's about more importantly understanding like the human nature. How's human? Like we're very tribal, you know, we can be very tribal, you know, we're very territorial, you know. I mean, you come from a place in Europe with like for hundreds of years there was like loads of conflicts between the Spanish,
the Portuguese, the Dutch, everyone.
Right.
That's and that's also a lot about religion. We learned about this in school actually. And that's the thing that when we took independence, we eventually, like after years, we also said that everyone can believe what they want, but not every religion is claimed by governments. So, like Buddhism, I'm pretty sure, and Hinduism, all that isn't recognized by governments. But like Islam, there are loads of mosques, especially in Brussels, because Brussels has a lot of diversity. But it's still a big problem in Belgium because we have a political party called Vlaams Belang, and they basically want all people that live in Islam out of the country. They think that they're all terrorists and they all cause problems and they are the people why the women feel unsafe and the LGBTQ plus people feel unsafe. Luckily we have kind of ignored a lot of their comments and just, not ignored because it is important to recognize other people, but we have debated. It doesn't have that much of an influence, but you see a lot of the young people my age, a bit older, that have the right to vote, that really do want to vote for this political party because they also want the Flanders region, where I'm from, but it's Dutch. They want it to be alone. They don't want to belong to Wallonia.
Okay.
So that's why people search for it.
So are you from there? You're from here, right?
No, I'm from
here. I was wondering. So that's you said a lot of stuff that's very interesting. You know, so it's a lot of politics, it's history, it's immigration policies. It's very complicated. And then you know when you're like sort of like on the ground, you're not like intellectual, you're not like a historian. You look at it and you're like, oh, this is so confusing. But like one thing I really like about a lot of the young people, especially like sort of from your generation, is that you guys do take stances against injustices and things that you really believe in, and you go out and you do things which I really appreciate. And I think
it's more, this generation is more independent of their own parental political views. I think it's very good because it helps larger thinking instead of just think
It's easy because of social media. People can like a lot easier share ideas and hobbies, and that's I think very good
as well. Is why they should keep the age down. Sorry, not down. I think they should keep it how it is. Because in the end of the day, younger people are still much more liberal, and therefore it can be really easy just to manipulate a bunch of young audience and then get them to vote for you. It's so much easier.
That's a good take. That's a very good take.
No, it's also 18, but they're thinking about making it 16 sometimes.
But that's a very good take. But I have so much hope in the potential of the younger generation. One thing that I'm a bit afraid of is that they sort of go through the same cycle that each other generation went through, and then sort of like reality kicks in, and
they're saying that, but I don't think it's
become more conservative.
They're just saying that. I think you see that in a lot of conservative media because they're sort of like hoping that sort of happens. I really don't believe that's going to happen. I really hope that's not going to happen. Because we really do need some change here.
100%.
The change doesn't only need to be about like cultural, like religious stuff. but it also needs to be political, like have more people have a say in it. Like if you look at America again, because that's where I don't know a lot about British politics, sorry. Yeah, but if you look at like the abortion rights, just Roe v. Wade got overturned. But it was mostly like straight, white, old men that are Catholic.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. So, in terms of like traditional, because it's really what they're claiming is conservatism. They're claiming they're trying to conserve sanctified religious,
but I don't understand it because like the Islam and Jewish, it's also
it's all conservative. It's conserving the old sort of way.
Everything is old. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm more of a fan of like conservatism, and this is not like the classical definition of it, but I'm more of a fan of like conserve what is good. Conserve what all of us can sort of benefit from, but don't stick to things that are clearly not helping anyone, And I feel like sometimes with conservatism, that's what it is. That's what happens with a lot of these people, is that they just want to stick to it because it's ancient, but it doesn't mean it's good because it's ancient, There are so many things that people confuse to be ancient and from religion, but then if you research it, it's actually not from the religion
like
itself.
How we say Thomas Edison, great inventor, he made so much with the light bulb, so inventive, and then you research a little bit more when really he just stole a bunch of designs, hired a bunch of people and got credit for it. So it's sort of, we're just saying, these old people were great, and then research them, they're not that great, honestly. It's like...
It's again, we've been taught Thomas Edison invented by school, and I'm not shitting on the school education, although I kind of am, but there are a lot of things that could improve with school education. Also in Belgium, and I've seen it here renting.
But that's why, this is why I'm so convinced by something like Islam, because Islam seems to not follow, and this is if you really like sort of invest your time in trying to like understand what this book, the Quran, is actually claiming and what's claiming to do, because it seems like it transcends these trends of like, sort of like contemporaneous sort of like. So the Quran is, to me, it seems like it's a book that it speaks to every single time at a given time, and it suggests, because it speaks to the very deepest sort of inner workings of what makes a human being. Like for example, if you think about like conservatism, all these white cis, man, a lot is to do with ego. It's an ego thing as well. Fundamentally, if you strip it away, it's the idea of like we're losing ourselves as a nation, and we are the vanguards of this nation. We have to protect this nation, and these are foreigners or these are outsiders, and so if you look at it from a human psychological perspective, it's really to do with like pride and arrogance almost. My way of thinking is the best. I feel like that's what religion addresses, especially Islam. It addresses these things, and it says to you that do not be a tyrant. Don't be tyrannical on earth and force people and subjugate people to like, forcefully.
That's also like I said, Vlaams Belang in Belgium, but I'm pretty sure like the Tories or the EDL over here, they think that they're superior because, like, for example, people who are black or people who believe something else, they are all criminals, but you can have a normal conversation like we are having right now and see that we have loads of things in common, and we may not share the same view on life or on the world, but we do share the same view on equality or on other things. So that's the thing that I don't understand.
You see, this is a question I ask myself all the time, okay? As someone who lives sort of in the modern world, as a Muslim, who wants to really understand the place that I live in, and I really want to understand that the religion that I believe in, like how do I reconcile to, you know, because you use the word like equality, right? And I believe in the sense that, like, as a citizen, if you're like part of the state and there are particular rules for everyone, I believe that everyone should be protected, you know, under those like rules, regardless of like your sexual orientation or your religious
or dhimmis. Dhimmis, the non-Muslims are dhimmis. Dhimmis, or Kappa, or Najran, or Christian.
We're talking about the UK, by the way.
Yeah, because Islam has got the power to say, fight the cause of Allah and His Prophet, and he won't openly say, in the Quran it says, as you know,
I mean,
Allah,
look how rude. Look how rude. First of all,
because faithful are the wounds from a friend, faithful are the wounds from a friend, deceitful are kisses from an enemy. The Quran says that some Jews will turn into monkeys and pigs. Monkeys and pigs.
Shia and Sunni.
Some Jews will turn into monkeys and pigs in the Quran, that's what it says.
None of them are radicals.
What's the one that believes that
you have like radicals?
That there was a
yeah, it's a Shia.
Remember, politicians.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying.
I mean, loads of people who just do public speaking smile or talk, and everyone smiles or talks, and then it's different or the same way. It doesn't matter.
Ask them about the age of Aisha, and Mohammed asked her to marry him when she was 6 years old, he was 51 years of age. Ask them about that. Ask them about Mohammed having sex with Aisha when she was 9 years old, and he was 54
You're not
years of age.
justifying it.
Why don't you have a conversation with him? It's not having a
Because he's
conversation.
a liar. He's making money. I don't want to make money for him. That's what I've
Where is he making? It's all free. He's not making money.
You know what? Ignore him. Don't listen to him.
We are not justifying bad behavior. We are talking about how we can make the world more better by living in peace.
So when you say that some Jews will turn into monkeys and pigs, I think that's it.
By practicing Islam.
This man obviously.
Have you read the Quran?
Look at this, like he called me a liar. I don't even know him. What's my name? What's my name? Okay, you call me a liar. How can you call me a liar? You don't even know me. How can you call me a liar? You don't know me. You don't know me. You make an assumption. You're rude. You're very rude. Anyway.
Hi, my friend.
I'm sorry about it.
Yeah, it's alright. Your mission failed anyway.
But it's important to listen to both sides.
I do agree. I've had a conversation with him before, and I was trying to tell him, and he did the same thing. He went to like young Muslims, and
What's happened to David? How many wives he had?
and I said to him, like, what are you doing?
What's happened to Moses? How many
He went
wives
to
he had?
these young Muslim
What's
girls
happened
who
to
are black,
Jesus? How
right?
many wives?
And then he goes and talks about slavery to them. I was like, why are you doing this? But what? Because they're black, you know? And I told them these girls, they're like from West Africa. They've been Muslim for thousands of years. You as a white man, you can't come to them and tell them anything about slavery. You should chill. So I do apologize, but clearly his mission has failed. I feel like we were having a beautiful conversation. I'm not a liar. This conversation that we have in here, I have all the time with you.
No, we're not.
Right?
Yeah, we don't think I think we just mostly agreed on a lot of things. So
And there are certain Muslims who may actually disagree with my position, but that's just my position.
There are, you know, every religion has hundreds of different branches of science because each of them has a book that isn't very explicit with its detail.
Yeah.
I think there are good things and bad things about that. One, you know, good things you've got sort of it's heavily able to interpret it.
Yeah.
So you can think greatly of it. It could be really inspiring and amazing to you.
Yeah.
But it could also someone could read
I will
it
just
the
tell
wrong
you
way.
one thing. I've been studying religion all my life when I was young. And I know the Quran by heart. By heart. And when he said this guy about Muhammad, he married a woman, her name Aisha, and at the age he was 51. And that's according to Bukhari. And according to Ibn Hisham, Abdul Malik ibn Hisham. Abdul Malik ibn Hisham, he wrote about Sira Nabi al-Atira, Sira Nabawiyya al-Atira, after 252 years. After 252 years, we have the first book telling us what happened to Muhammad. After 252 years! And you come in today, this guy, Muhammad, he never married Aisha. Oh, we don't know. We don't know. Because these people, they told us after 252 years. Can you imagine the gap? They used to have, I'm sorry about telling you in Arabic language or in any language, there is a black hole. We don't know nothing written whatsoever about Islam after 200 years. The first guy who wrote about Muhammad, and Bukhari come after. Bukhari, who was telling us a hadith, he was from Bukharistan, Bukhara, and he lived in the 9th century. I don't want to come here. 9th century.
Thank you.
So what you believe is only stories, like you believe he's telling you about Buddhism or Hindu. It's a religion. It's got nothing to do whatsoever.
This is Speaker's Corner. People.
This religion attracts mainly black people. That's for another reason.
That's not true. That's not true.
I've seen a lot of people use the Quran or being Muslim as an excuse for behavior like homophobia or sexism or those kind of things. Even in my own school, my own class, we had quite a bit of Muslim people, and they used to sometimes, not them directly, but I've seen people use it as an excuse. What do you think about that?
Well, I'll be honest with you. If you go to the text, the religious text, what the Quran talks about, and then we talk about that, and I tell you about the homophobia, right? So the Quran, as a religious text, is not favorable, does not favorably talk about homosexuality, right? There are stories of, like, the story of Lot. It's also in the Old Testament.